we are going to be drawing a Celtic four-leaf clover, and the supplies that you're going to need is some type of green marker. It can be any color green. I'm using a Blick Studio Green because it has a really good broad tip. So I like that it's double-sided. And I'm also using this yellow colored pencil. It's Swiss color. Actually bought this in Switzerland at the airport because my flight was delayed, and I thought, well, I'm just gonna do some coloring then to kill some time. But typically when I'm in the classroom, I like to use Mr. Sketch markers, the scented ones. Those are my favorite. And Prisma colored pencils. I feel that those colored pencils blend incredibly, so I love blending when it comes to colored pencils. But today, any type of green marker will do. Blick is a really fun company. There's one in St. Louis. I love going into that store just to see what's on sale. And again, any yellowish colored pencil, as long as your colored pencil is lighter than the color that you're using, you could use even a light green or a white, but you will need some type of highlight and a marker color. So to make our Celtic four-leaf clover, the first thing we're gonna do, we're basically just gonna use two shapes, square and heart. So to start off with the square, I'm gonna put it in the middle of your page. And I'm taking my time so my lines are as straight as I can make them. And I want them to be similar in length, just like a typical square is. We don't want a rectangle. All right, so we got a square. Mine's not exactly in the middle, it's a little up towards the top, but that's okay, it will work out. Next, we're gonna draw a heart. And so what I like to do is draw the middle lines of the heart first. And if you want to sketch this with your pencil first, I'm gonna actually do it with the smaller part of my marker before I go in and make it thicker. So think of this just like a sketch. So we're gonna have hearts on all four corners. And so when we do a heart, I'll just do one down here. We have kind of a pointed section, and then we have a curved section. So keep that in mind. If we were to split up the heart, we would have two straight lines and two curved lines. The curved lines are gonna be going on the outside of the square. The straight lines are gonna be going on the inside. We're just gonna make this nice and easy. So let's do these curved lines first. So inside the square, I'm gonna start about here. And I'm gonna put some dashes before I even begin. So we're just gonna do one corner first, this corner here. So I'm putting a dash, not quite in the center, just off center towards this corner a little bit. And also same thing here. Put a dash. It's not quite in the center of the line. It's towards this corner a little bit. And then now I feel comfortable drawing my straight line down, just like this line here. And then we're gonna do this one. Okay. So now I'm gonna go in and make that a little bit thicker. All right. So now we're gonna use this line as a guideline. So we know we're gonna come up into the corner. Same thing here, we're gonna use this as a guideline, come up into the corner. So now we're gonna work on these lines here, these curved lines. That's what we wanna do now. So same thing here, just a curved line. So we're gonna go up over to the corner. So we got this one done. And now this one, same thing. Start here, up and over to the corner. So now we've got this one. So we did all four parts of our heart. This is just our guide. You don't have to draw this down here. This is our drawing, but this is just to kind of help. And now you can go in with your marker again and take your time. Trying to use that curved section, fix that a little bit. That's the nice thing about art. If you don't like something, you can always fix it. Creatively problem solve. That's what I think is really important that we all learn and all experience. Because life is not perfect, but what we can do is try to find creative solutions to problems as they occur. Just like in art. All right, we got one part done. So that looks pretty cool. And similar to a 4-leaf clover, which also uses heart shapes, right? So if we're gonna make a 4-leaf clover, we got 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we got 4 heart shapes, and then the letter J, which starts with my name. Letter J there. There you go for the stem. So 1, 2, 3, 4, we got 1. So we're gonna have a total of 4, just like there are 4 corners to our squares. So let's go on to our next one. We're gonna do it the same way. So I like to start with a little dash. It's a little guideline, same thing. We're gonna try to keep this straight, even with this one here. Then you can go in with your thick, if you're feeling comfortable, if you don't want to sketch it out with pencil first, but if you do want to sketch yours out like you did for the first one, that's fine. All right, and then again, that loop is going straight up into the corner. Straight up and to the corner. And then you can kind of tidy it up a bit, make it look good. That is called craftsmanship. When you are taking your time and trying to make it as nice as you can. We're not scribbling, we are taking our time. All right, so guess what? We got our top 2. So now we're gonna work on these bottom 2 of our clover in the same way. So let's start with our dashes again. Dash, dash. Make a line. Make a line. And then the same thing, you're going up into the corner, up into the corner. So let's do that. The top of this one, a little pointy, so I'm gonna try to fix that. All right, we got this one made. We got one more to do. And then we're gonna use our handy highlight pencil. I'm using yellow, you can use anything. And this one is actually a watercolor pencil, which are really fun. And I have these linked, not the Swiss Color brand, but I do have some watercolor colored pencils linked in my description below, along with some Mr. Sketch markers as well, if you want to get some of those too. Those are a lot of fun because then your art smells amazing. But at the end today, when we add some highlights, I have a paintbrush and some water, and I'm just gonna see what happens when we do that on top of our color here. So let's continue. We got one more to go before we do our highlighting, but keep that handy. So again, we have our last set of dashes. Make a dash, make a dash. Make a line and another line. And the great thing too about Celtic knots is that sometimes they end up making other shapes. So we just used a square and a heart, but I'm already seeing a plus sign inside of the middle. So kind of cool. We also have some half circles and we have some smaller squares. All right, so loop that to the corner. So Celtic knots too, they originate from Britain and Ireland. That's where you're gonna see those the most. I have actually been to Britain, but I've never been to Ireland. But that's where they originate from, Celtic art specifically. And a lot of Celtic knots, there's all different designs, and a lot of them are said to mean to kind of represent eternity, because if you look at it, it's almost like it's never ending. Kind of like the math symbol, which means it repeats, right? So sometimes it represents loyalty, faith, friendship, love, anything that is eternal. I also just think they're really cool and neat to look at. So once you have this drawn, I'll put the caps back on my marker. You don't want your marker to dry out. Making sure it clicks. There you go. And grab your highlight pencil. So this is where it gets kind of fun, is adding the highlights. That's really gonna start to make it look like it's overlapping. And so I like to start off kind of here on this heart to your left. And I'm gonna start right above this line here where they cross. I'm gonna start here and just kind of start to color in some yellow. And I'm gonna stop it right here at the top. So color in a little bit of highlight. And stop it right before this next cross where it intersects. Then I'm going to take this straight line and go through all the way to here. I'm going to stop it before I get to this section. So give it a little bit of highlight. And this is really going to make this look more like a knot, like it's actually woven, because some sections are going to be overlapped. You can see this top part is on top of this curve here. And again, overlapping is when something's on top of another and you only see some of the bottom. So you're only going to see some of that because this one is on top of it. And we're going to continue. And I'm just going to take this line and go all the way. Kind of looks like a pretzel. If you think about, if you've ever ate a pretzel, you think about how that kind of twists and overlaps. It's very similar to some Celtic knots. There you go. Look at that. It's already starting to look like a knot, isn't it? Looking overlapped. Again, I'm just going back over some things, working on that craftsmanship. All right, next we are gonna do this side. So same thing here. I'm going to start just right over here. Do the same thing. I'm gonna bring this part all the way down and stop it right before I intersect with that. Now the one that you see over to the side that I made on Procreate online, it just has one more dimension, and I drew another square here in the middle just to make it look extra tangled. And if you would like to do that, we can do that right after this. I can show you. So if this one you're saying is maybe a little too simple for you, you want to challenge yourself, which is always good to do, we can definitely do that one next. So I'm going to curve this. But if you are at home, like this was enough of a challenge for me, that is totally fine too. We're all at different levels. And as long as you're trying your best and having fun, there you go. So we got the top two done. Now let's take it down to the bottom. So I'm going to start here at the point. Let's do this one next. So I'm going to stop with this cross here. I don't want to go through that intersection. So I'm just going to do this little line and the curve and stop here. I'm also going to make just a little bitty line here. That's it for that one. Then continue it here and stop. It's my letter J again. All right, so we got this one done, and now let's start with this line and bring it over. I'm going to stop it right before I get to that intersection. All right. And now let's start here in the corner again. And I'm going to make a J again. All right, now I'm going to continue. I almost need to sharpen my pencil. And I'm going to stop right up here. And make a straight line here. And then connect that through. There you go. And if you want to do the extra square, take your marker again, and we can draw a square. kind of all you have to do is just the corners in here. And bring it down. Just making it a little thicker so we can have room to fit in our yellow. All right, so we've got our square. And now actually, I'm gonna go over with my marker still, over this yellow on that side. And then same thing over here, I'm gonna go over the yellow here. So we can have some overlapping again. And I'm also gonna go over the yellow right over here. So in 3 sections, I'm gonna overlap the yellow. Whoa, this is really thick right here. Let me work on my craftsmanship and bring that up. I just caught that. I'm like, whoa, that does not look good. It's not very even right there. So I want to take that thickness and now make this whole square that thick. It'll look a little better. There we go. All right, so now same thing with our yellow. Let's start here, make a straight line, doing our highlights. So now that's overlapping. And then end it here, so it looks like a little L. I also got this sharpener in Switzerland. And you stick your pencil behind the cow and it sharpens. There we go. We'll just set him over here for now. He can hang out with us. All right, let me go back over that now that my pencil's a little sharper. And then this little section, add some yellow. This one, kind of like the letter V on its side or a backwards L. And then bring this line up. And over. And then last section. Over and down. There you go. So that's adding a little bit more to your knot. So let's see now with my paintbrush, just for fun, let's see. Oh, the yellow will smear a little bit more. That's kind of cool. Which is good because my coloring was not the best. Kind of going over it kind of quick, but just to kind of see, give it a watercolor look. And all I'm doing is dipping my paintbrush in some water and going on top of the yellow. Since this pencil is a watercolor colored pencil, it will add a little bit of watercolor. Maybe I want to just even color in my Celtic Knot. That's kind of cool. Awesome. All right. Kind of hold that up so you can see it a little better. I hope you all enjoyed the Celtic Knot, and happy St. Patrick's Day if you're watching this around St. Patrick's Day. And join us next time for another awesome art adventure.